The morning sun gleamed faintly through a haze of smog hanging over the Tesla manufacturing center. Elon Musk stood outside the towering facility, its massive logo gleaming on the side of the building. Dressed in a faded plaid shirt, jeans, scuffed boots, and a baseball cap pulled low over his face, Elon felt the unfamiliar sensation of anonymity. The glasses, perched on his nose, completed the look of Elliot Marks, an unassuming new hire ready to take his place on the assembly line. Inside, the hum of machinery was constant, blending with the occasional sharp crack of tools against metal. Workers moved with purpose, though their faces revealed weariness. As Elon stepped onto the floor, he was greeted by a woman named Rosa, who had been tasked with showing him the ropes. Rosa was friendly but cautious, her eyes darting around the room as if ensuring no one overheard their conversation. "Welcome to the grind," Rosa said, her tone laced with dry humor. "Stick to your station, do your job, and don't ask too many questions. You'll do fine." Elon nodded, absorbing her words and the tense energy in the air. As they walked, he observed the rigid structure of the operation. Each worker seemed locked in place, their movements synchronized with the unrelenting pace of the conveyor belts. There was no chatter, no camaraderie, only the sound of work. "Who's the manager here?" Elon asked casually as they approached his workstation. Rosa grimaced. "Greg Mason. You'll meet him soon enough. Just don't get on his bad side." It wasn't long before Greg Mason made his entrance. The man was in his late 40s, stocky, with a permanent scowl etched into his face. He wore a pristine suit jacket over jeans, a look that seemed intended to intimidate rather than inspire. Elliot, right?" Greg's voice boomed across the room as he approached, clipboard in hand. His eyes flicked over Elon dismissively. "You look like you've never worked a day in your life. What brings you here?" Elon forced a sheepish smile. "Just looking for steady work, sir." Greg snorted. "We'll see about that." He pointed toward a stack of parts. "You're on assembly, and don't think about slowing down the line. We've got no room for slackers." For the rest of the day, Elon toiled alongside the other workers, his muscles straining as he struggled to keep up with the relentless pace. Greg hovered nearby, barking orders and criticizing anyone who fell behind. When one worker stumbled while carrying a heavy load, Greg was quick to pounce. "Pathetic," he sneered. "How do you people expect to keep this place running if you can't even lift a box?" The worker, a young man named Carlos, muttered an apology, but Greg waved him off with a look of contempt. By the end of the shift, Elon's body ached, but his mind was sharper than ever. He had seen enough to confirm his suspicions. This was more than a demanding workplace. It was a toxic environment. As he left for the day, Elon glanced back at the building, its towering walls now bathed in the orange glow of the setting sun. He had come here to learn, but what he had witnessed already stirred something deeper within him. This wasn't just about understanding the work. It was about changing the culture. The days that followed were grueling. Each shift started with a loud, barked command from Greg Mason, who patrolled the factory floor like a self-proclaimed king. Elon, still disguised as Elliot Marks, watched and listened, carefully piecing together the inner workings of the facility. It didn't take long for the cracks in the system to show. Safety precautions were ignored to keep up with production deadlines. Suggestions for improvement were dismissed or mocked, leaving workers feeling voiceless. Elon noticed the same faces day after day, worn, tired, and defeated. One morning, while Elon tightened bolts on a frame alongside Rosa, Greg approached. His shadow fell over Elon, and the air seemed to grow heavier. "Hey, Marks," Greg's voice carried across the room. "You're moving slower than molasses. What's the holdup?" "I'm making sure it's done right," Elon replied calmly, resisting the urge to snap back. Greg's eyes narrowed. "Done right? You're not here to think, you're here to work. Get it done faster, or I'll find someone who can." Rosa shot Elon a warning glance, her hands working faster as if to avoid becoming Greg's next target. Elon complied, but his thoughts churned. The man didn't just lead poorly, he ruled through intimidation, eroding morale with every word. Later that day, Elon joined a group of workers on their break. They sat around a battered metal table in the break room, sipping lukewarm coffee. Rosa, Carlos, and a few others shared stories about Greg's reign of terror. "You think today was bad?" Carlos said, shaking his head. "Last month, Greg cut someone's hours because they had to leave early for a family emergency. Said they weren't dedicated enough." "Yeah," Rosa added, "and don't bother going to HR. They're scared of him too. He's got connections up the ladder." Elon listened intently, his heart heavy. These weren't just anecdotes. They were cries for help. The workers weren't lazy or unmotivated. They were beaten down by a system that rewarded fear over fairness. The turning point came the following day, when Greg's temper reached a boiling point. A machine jammed on the assembly line, causing a ripple of delays. Elon was nearby and stepped in to assist, but Greg stormed over before he could fix the issue. "Who touched this?" Greg roared. His eyes landed on Elon. "Was it you, Marks? Do you even know what you're doing?" "I was trying to help," Elon said evenly. "Help? You're nothing but a liability. If you can't follow simple instructions, maybe you don't belong here." The room fell silent as Greg berated him, his voice echoing off the metal walls. Elon locked eyes with Rosa, who looked away, her face a mask of quiet resignation. It was clear this was nothing new. As Greg walked off, Elon's resolve hardened. He had seen enough. On the fourth day, Greg called a mandatory meeting. The workers shuffled into the break room, their expressions a mix of curiosity and dread. Greg stood at the front, arms crossed, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "We need to talk about productivity," he began, his tone sharp. "Frankly, some of you are dragging us down." His eyes landed on Elon, and a cruel smile spread across his face. "Take Marks here, for example. Worst hire I've ever made. Can't keep up, doesn't follow directions, and now he's tampering with equipment. Congratulations, Marks. You're fired." The room went still. Rosa and Carlos exchanged uneasy glances, while Elon remained calm, his hands resting on the table. "Is that so?" Elon said, his voice steady. Greg sneered. "Yeah, that's so. Pack your things and get out." Instead of leaving, Elon reached up and removed his glasses, then pulled off his baseball cap. A murmur rippled through the room as recognition dawned. "Elon Musk?" Rosa whispered, her eyes wide. Greg's face turned pale. What is this?" Elon rose to his feet, his calm demeanor unchanged. "It's called Undercover observation, Greg. I came here to see how things are run, and I have to say, I'm deeply disappointed." The silence was deafening. Greg stammered, his bravado crumbling. "Mr. Musk, I didn't know." "Clearly," Elon interrupted, "because if you did, you might have treated your employees with respect. Instead, I've seen you belittle, intimidate, and ignore the very people who keep this facility running." Greg tried to recover, his voice shaky. "I was just trying to maintain order. You don't understand what it takes to—" "I understand more than you think," Elon said, his tone sharp. "And what I've seen here is unacceptable." He turned to the workers, his gaze softening. "You all deserve better. No one should feel afraid to speak up or come to work every day. That changes now." The room erupted into applause, the tension breaking like a dam. Greg slumped in his chair, defeated. The next day, Elon called a town hall-style meeting in the factory's main assembly area. Workers gathered in groups, their curiosity piqued by the unexpected turn of events. Elon stood on a small platform, addressing the crowd with the same directness that had made him a leader in the tech world. "First, I want to thank you all for your hard work. You've been operating under conditions that no one should have to endure, and yet you've kept this facility running. That speaks volumes about your dedication." The workers nodded, their expressions a mix of relief and hope. "Second," Elon continued, "effective immediately, Greg Mason is no longer the manager of this facility." A cheer erupted, the loudest coming from Carlos, who clapped so hard his hands turned red. "In his place," Elon said, "we'll be appointing a new leadership team, one that prioritizes your safety, your ideas, and your well-being. This isn't just about increasing productivity, it's about building a workplace where everyone can thrive." He went on to outline his plans, a feedback system that allowed workers to report issues anonymously, regular visits to facilities to ensure accountability, and new safety protocols to protect employees. Rosa raised her hand hesitantly. Will we actually see these changes, or is this just talk? You have my word, Elon replied, and I'll hold myself accountable too. If things don't improve, you'll see me back here. No disguise necessary. By the end of the meeting, the atmosphere in the facility had shifted. There was a renewed sense of hope, a belief that things could and would get better. As Elon left the facility that evening, he looked back at the building, its walls now reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. This time, he felt a sense of accomplishment. The toxic culture wasn't gone, but the first step had been taken. And for the workers who had endured so much, that first step meant everything. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey of transformation, justice, and redemption. Today's story reminds us of the importance of accountability and how one person's courage can inspire lasting change. It's a testament to the idea that leadership isn't about fear, it's about empowerment and respect. If this story resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to leave a comment below and let us know where you're listening from. It's always amazing to connect with our community around the world. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss another inspiring tale from Hopeful Horizon. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay strong, and always believe in the power of positive change. See you soon.